in the vents, and I mean, the terrorists are going to run into the crossfire. Look at that shooting gallery. Malta with 3 kills. Oh, what? Oh, God. Oh!
Jump into the back and they found a couple that killed off one from the Oracle dead, and now they found tools as well. There's no ice blast, but look at Sven cleaving through 1 and 2.
So it's faded out.
Oh no,
Sven,
no!
He jumped on the replicant and BKB and the storm!
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight we have a game between Go Figure Red and White Unicorn, and joining me tonight will be Zach. Hello, Zach. Introduce yourself, please. Go Figure Red, what do you think about those picks? They are like, it seems as though they are going for a more disabled lineup with the amount of stuns that they have, the amount of lockdown they have, with the Hex, the Shackle, and the amount of stuns the Earthshaker brings onto the table.
I think they have a pretty solid disabling capacity, and they have gone for quite a safe draft, I would say, because going for a Shaman and an Earthshaker is a textbook combination. You have your array of stuns to put out on the map, and they overall make good utility even later into the game. So they scale very well in team fights, as well as Shadow Shaman can push using his ultimate. As compared to White Unicorn, they have gone for a rather pure draft. What do you think with the initial 2 picks?
Yeah, so they have gone for a Sand King and a Night Stalker. We know that a Sand King is a really active hero. He is someone who will be able to farm, even though he would fail in lane. So, and compared with the Night Stalker pick, the Night Stalker, we all know, is a really early game hero. Like, he shines in the early game. At every night cycle, he goes around, ganks people, gets a few kills, makes sure that the opposite team does not have the space to farm. So I think that White Unicorn have a really aggressive lineup compared to what Go Figure Red has, in my opinion.
Alright, I would actually am inclined to agree with your statement, but the interesting thing about Night Stalker picks here is that it is either a deal maker or a breaker. So they have gone for quite a risky pick there, because Night Stalker can get easily caught out lacking farm, and that's the whole point of picking a Night Stalker, because you want to roam early into the game and tank those towers so your team could actually, you know, go into aggression and pick out a few kills and probably harass their carry out of the lane. That is what Night Stalkers are supposed to do. So if not that, then I think scaling into late game Night Stalker is going to be really difficult to handle for White Unicorn themselves.
Okay, so for Go Figure Red, we have a Slaughter getting picked up and a Warlock getting picked up for White Unicorn. As for the bans for Go Figure Red, we have a Nyx Assassin, Bristleback, Bloodseeker, and an Invoker being banned out for Go Figure Red. While for the side of White Unicorn, we have a Darkseer, Venomancer, Templar Assassin, and a Tinker being banned out. Seeing the Bloodseeker ban, we have seen Bloodseeker being played competitively in pro games. Why do you think that Go Figure Red are scared of a Bloodseeker pick? Do you think they are going to go for an anti-mage or something?
They could be. That is a very plausible pick, I think, the anti-mage. And at this point, they have all the heroes to support an anti-mage pick. But at this point, I guess Bloodseeker would just be a bit too OP if White Unicorn gets that carry farmed up. And it's just a general threat on the map. So you don't want to play against a Bloodseeker, may it be a tournament or may it be even a ranked match.
True. It seems as though you speak from experience. Lost your fair share of games against a Bloodseeker, have you?
I've lost my fair share of 4-digit MMR games.
Okay. Yeah. So we see the Venomancer being banned out for White Unicorn. The past considerable months of this patch, we have seen Venomancer being picked up as a really core hero. White Unicorn, I think the reason they banned out the Venomancer is because of the consecutive pick which they just did, Lifestealer. Because a Lifestealer will not be able to function really well versus slows. And we know that the Poison Gale is... the Venomous Gale does slow the Lifestealer through the magic immunity. So, yeah, I think White Unicorn had the Lifestealer pick in mind since they banned out the Venomancer. And for Go Figure Red, we see a Juggernaut being picked up. So I think the last pick for each of these teams is going to be their mid laner.
Yeah, I would actually agree with you, unless White Unicorn would want to go Night Stalker mid, which is highly improbable, unless they are going for one of those surprise drafts we saw yesterday.
Yeah, Night Stalker mid, I don't know. Like, I don't think a Night Stalker would be able to make full use of the mid lane unless he has someone like an IO supporting him. So, I still think that Night Stalker is playable in the mid if they are going to play it like a tiny IO lane. And for the bans, we see a Shadow Fiend being banned out for White Unicorn. So, White Unicorn...
I guess they pretty much know that Go Figure Red definitely needs him, right? So they have already banned out the Invoker for White Unicorn, so they don't go for that. And an Invoker, however, would have been a great pick for White Unicorn because he can be very easily picked up. And with that, they go for the Queen of Pain, which sums up their draft, and it is a pretty textbook draft, don't you think?
Yeah, Queen of Pain is a really strong hero in the mid lane, and banning out the Shadow Fiend, it seems as though it is working for... It seems as though the Queen of Pain's ban is going to... Like, I don't know. Okay, they pick an Ember Spirit in the mid lane, so... Possibly, I think an Ember Spirit versus Queen of Pain, as much as magic damage is going to be sucked up by the Ember Spirit, I think the Queen of Pain still has the advantage. Since she deals a lot of damage, her right-click damage is really high, and the slow coming in from the Shadow Strike, I think that will be enough to send the Ember Spirit out of the lane.
I am thinking more on the lines of a very good initiation setup for the Lifestealer, because definitely the Ember Spirit will be traveling at incredibly high speeds, and with that blink coming in, Ember Spirit is literally going to be teleporting into lanes. So Lifestealer can very well gank from within Ember Spirit, or a Sand King ultimate with the blink initiation from the Lifestealer would set up a very good team fight for White Unicorn.
Yeah, so White Unicorn seem to be going for a bread and butter combination with the Sand King and the Lifestealer, also the Ember Spirit and the Lifestealer. As for Go Figure Red, their draft seems to be, even though I said that White Unicorn are the ones who will be playing really aggressively, the Slaughter pick combined with the Earthshaker, the Juggernaut and the Queen of Pain is going to make sure they will be more aggressive than White Unicorn, since the armor reduction from the Slaughter's ultimate is going to amplify the amount of damage the Earthshaker deals with his Enchant Totem. And with that, we are going to go live. What do you think about this game, man? Any predictions to make?
We're gonna go live here. This is my favorite part of the game, where you just see that...
Yeah, you have to it's like showing off, right? Who spent the most money on this game, which we all love.
Queen of Pain has started the game off with some light shenanigans, and
Yeah.
it doesn't actually seem a very hostile environment.
I mean, Indian Dota has never been hostile. Everybody is friendly, everybody wants to be that one guy in the team who makes all those jokes. So I don't think Indian Dota has ever been hostile. Since the game is going to get paused, we are going to run a few ads for Aces ROG, and we will be right back. So the game has been unpaused. Zach, what's up, man?
Nothing, I was just fixing some microphone issues that I was having. So, anyways, we have a smoke coming in, and the Shadow Shaman has quite sneakily warded that mid lane. And I think that was a very good move that you smoked out before warding that lane, otherwise it could have been easily spotted out. And now they are kind of converging in the bottom lane, so possibly looking to take out.
Yeah, it seems as though Go Figure Red have the potential to go for a first blood, since the Shadow Shaman deals a lot of damage. The Slaughter is also going to be able to stun them down, and the Shackle combined with a Slaughter hitting on your face is not going to be pleasant, but it does not seem like that is going to be the case. The smoke was only expended by the side of Go Figure Red to place that ward in the mid lane, giving their mid laner that little edge that they need.
Alright. That is a fair
So
point.
yeah, there comes another pause. Conveniently, of course, because right now I will be able to introduce the players from each team. For White Unicorn, we have the Sand King being played by Dominator. We've got the Ember Spirit being played by QWE. The Night Stalker being played by Redemption. The Warlock being played by Clutch. And the Lifestealer being played by Kark. Okay, it seems as though the hostile environment is non-existent in this game. So as for the side of Go Figure Red, we've got the Slaughter being played by PMA, the Earthshaker being played by Drake, WS Snags on the Juggernaut, the Shadow Shaman being played by Rachel Zane, and finally the mid laner, the Queen of Pain, is going to be using a name which I cannot pronounce. I hope I took some Asian language classes back in school. Sadly, I didn't.
I think that's Mandarin or I don't know. Maybe Japanese as well.
Yeah, I mean...
Because at any point of time we try to pronounce it, we are racists.
Yeah, PG-13 people. The stream is PG-13. So it seems as though the technical issues have been solved for the side of Go Figure Red and the go sign has been given. How do you think the lanes are going to be played? Zach7, tell me. Shower me with yours.
They have already set it all up by themselves. I think we have an offlane Sand King. It's pretty textbook, and we have a Lifestealer who's going to be supported by the Warlock here, and the Juggernaut is surprisingly. Oh, that's not. I'm sorry about that. The Amber Spirit is going to go mid, and a Night Stalker will be roaming. Obviously, he has his boots up, so he's going to be supporting SK and whenever they need a rotation. Otherwise, he'll be rotating the enemy jungle. I think that's the plan over there.
Okay, and as for the top lane, you see that Go Figure Red are going with that bread and butter combination with the Shadow Shaman and the Juggernaut. So that will kind of be a pain in the ass for the Sand King. If he is going to get caught out, he is going to be driven out of the lane, if not killed himself.
So pretty much I guess Juggernaut is gonna get free farm if the Sand King isn't successful getting that caustic finale up on them. So there you come. There's the first turn. I think the whole point of a Shadow King. Oh, and they could
go for a first blood, and the Sand King is going to go down. The Sand King pauses at the end of his death. It seems as though he started to lag or something. Maybe. Okay, he did not lag. Maybe
he's contemplating life.
Yeah. I think he just thought, why did I go to this lane? I could have just gone to the jungle. I just threw my body at this Juggernaut who is going to get really farmed at this rate. As for the mid lane, we see the Queen of Pain is going to get a little bit of harass onto the Night Stalker. The Night Stalker also harassing the Queen of Pain in return. The Ember Spirit will not be able to do much in the lane. The rotation coming in from the Earthshaker, trying to zone out the Ember Spirit as much as he can with the Fissure.
I think the whole point of having a Night Stalker mid is to provide support to the Ember, who is against a ranged versus melee disadvantage anyway, and he's going to harass the Queen of Pain out of the lane. She has a
okay, the Fissure is going to get really... Okay, that is going to trap out the Ember Spirit. The Ember Spirit will have to run around the river so as to keep his life safe. That is going to deny him a decent amount of farm, and we see the Queen of Pain, as we said, is topping the last hits and deny charts with the Lifestealer falling close behind. 8 last hits and 6 denies. And as you said, the Sand King has given up in the lane. He had contemplated his life in that brief pause he just took.
And the Earthshaker is not going to give him peace even there, I guess.
Yeah. This Sand King is a really sad Sand King. He did level up Caustic Finale, and he does have that Burrow Strike, so he does have a chance to get out if he is going to get harassed, but it will not come at a steep price. It seems as though the Earthshaker wants to take a few of the last hits that the Sand King is keeping for himself. The Caustic Finale is going to deal a decent amount of damage onto the Earthshaker. The Earthshaker is going to use the Fissure, secures the last hit, going to eat an Iron Branch. He is getting slowed by the Caustic Finale. He might go down. The Burrow Strike connects. One more hit, and Drake is dead. Dominator picking up that kill, the
I
Sand
think
King.
that's what lack of farm does to you. He was actually contesting last hits against the Sand King in the enemy jungle. So
And we
he's not gonna
see,
give up easily in
yeah.
this one.
So the Sand King is getting shackled by the Shadow Shaman. Since the shackle is a low level, it is not going to hold him down for long. The Earthshaker comes and the Night Stalker is also going to get shackled and going to get trapped up by the Fissure. The Night Stalker is getting really low, but I don't think the Night Stalker will be able to win this exchange. The Shadow Shaman, with the amount of damage he deals, 77 damage, is going to take that kill.
The top lane is a lane of comic exchanges because everyone is struggling to get a kill at level 1 and it's just funny to see how they're struggling to actually get last.
Yeah,
Just
the thing is,
supports, war of the
even
support.
though there are a lot of bodies falling in the top lane, the main hero who is supposed to be in the top lane, the Juggernaut, is getting the farm. He is not participating in any of those skirmishes that the supports are taking part in. He is actually doing really well, but not as good as the Lifestealer or the Queen of Pain, I suppose. The Queen of Pain is getting really strong, has 2 Null Talismans, has a Regen Rune in the bottle, so he will be able to do a lot of harass. But the Night Stalker is going to rotate. He does not have the Silence being skilled up, so chances are the Queen of Pain is not going to get caught out. But a decent amount of harass is still in way. The Slardar in the bottom lane is going to get really low. The Warlock's AO dot damage is going to wear him down. He is going to go back to base.
I think the Shadow Shaman is again and again coming, and they're just trying to make life hell for Sand King, and he's not the one who's gonna just sit there and take it.
Yeah,
So,
but then again, the Sand
it's
King
just-
has 2 points into his Burrow Strike, so I think that they have to be cautious about the commitments they are going to do to make the life hell Sand King. Sorry, make Sand King's life hell. I'm sorry, English is not my first language. And a shackle comes onto the Sand King. The Sand King is going to possibly go down. Maybe, maybe not. The Earthshaker does not have one more stun to lock him down, and the Sand King escapes with a sliver of his HP.
I think that's gonna cost them their tower because tier 1 is getting really pressurized here. And once Shadow Shaman's ultimate is up, I think Juggernaut and Shadow Shaman are gonna make a hell of a combo pushing down lanes. Not to mention the Shackle and the Spin combo that is ultimately insane as well. So they'll have to look out.
And meanwhile, the Earthshaker is going to get caught out, but he has a TP and TP's away. The Burst Strike being spent on the Earthshaker. He knows that he does not have any more stuns to lock him down, and TP's away. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, the Slardar is also going to TP back. It seems as though White Unicorn are being more aggressive than we thought.
They are indeed, and they are actually getting away with it. I
Yeah.
have not seen I've not seen a lot of overextension from their part, but it's fair on their part having the Night Stalker pick. They have to at this point go aggressive, otherwise their pick won't be justified.
The Night Stalker is still level 2. He does not have that silence. Maybe if he had that silence, he could go for the kill. A Sonic Wave is going to get spent, but the Ember Spirit is going to survive.
Oh, he dodged that fissure.
And the Queen of Pain
That was a
is
quick,
going to
dodge.
walk.
He
Yeah,
juked that.
the Queen of Pain is going to walk out with shame, unable to kill the Ember Spirit.
Lifestealer is pretty well farming in the bottom lane. He has not a worry in the world. He has his Rage TP to escape from any kind of mishap that happens bottom lane. So I'd spectate Lifestealer for the rest of the game if you give me that.
Well, you know what? You have a job to do, and you shall do it. You shall spectate the Lifestealer, and I shall look at the rest of the game. It is fun. It is
Okay, I
fun
don't
seeing a carry farm, isn't it? Like the amount of efficiency people do in this high skill level.
I'm just looking at the way he takes those last hits, and you know,
It is
trying
satisfying to
learn
watch.
something to get out of 3k health.
Yeah, it is satisfying to watch that. So the tier 1
Meanwhile,
is going to
top
go
lane,
down.
They've already lost out tier 1. Yes.
And the Sand King does not seem to be doing well.
There's a skirmish in middle lane, Queen of Pain against the Warlock. Not really gonna amount to much. Meanwhile, the Juggernaut is extending quite a lot now. He's really committed to pop that Omni Slash, but he knows better and he resists the
Maybe
urge
he
to
can
just
rotate
press
onto
that
the
card.
mid lane and get a kill onto the Warlock, suppose. Okay, he is going to spot out the Warlock.
now-
He is... I think the Warlock is dead right now. The Ember Spirit is going to use his... Okay, I don't know what goes on in the head of Snacks. Snacks is trying to get a kill. That overextension might not be the best of ideas. But he is going to go to the mid lane, get a decent amount of farm, try to steal the mid laner's farm himself. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, the Earthshaker is going to get a rotation from the Shadow Shaman and the Slardar. And the Lifestealer...
The last time I saw Snacks was entry fragging with a USP on Dust too. Since when did he shift to Dota?
Wrong game, bro. Wrong game. that is the wrong kind of game. A Slithering Crush comes on to the Lifestealer. The Lifestealer is going to be safe. The Slardar still does not have his level 6. Maybe if he had that, he will be able to get a decent amount of harass with that minus armor. But he will not be able to do so. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, the Earthshaker has rotated there. There are 3 heroes from the side of White Unicorn. And the Sonic Wave is going to pop out. The Ember Spirit. And he goes down. The Queen of Pain taking a kill. So that is going to be a really farmed Queen of Pain. He has already completed his Veil of Discord. He is going to finish his power threats also. So he will be able to deal a lot of right click damage.
I'm just gonna focus on the bottom lane and indulge in this right-clicking heaven.
Okay, while you
Well,
do
they have
that,
quite a lot of activity at
the Night Stalker is going to get caught out by the Shadow Shaman. The Shackle is going to make sure the Night Stalker is going to go down. Slardar on is going to take that kill, furthering his quest to get his Blink Dagger. Like, there are heroes who just need that one little item to start being really aggressive, and a Blink Dagger is that item for Slardar. As soon as he gets that, he will be able to make a lot of rotations.
Yeah. Slardar is... I think a 4-star pickup would be much better than a Blink Dagger. Considering that you have a Sand King and Ember in the opposing team, you could very well save a lot of your heroes by going for a 4-star instead.
True,
So
like
there's
a 4-star.
potential of a good 4-star pickup.
Yeah. And we see the Lifestealer is going to maul onto the Slardar, trying to drive him out of the lane. The amount of damage the Slardar deals to the Lifestealer is non-existent, and he goes in. The Infest is going to slow him down. The Rage is going to get committed. Snacks is going to try to go. He commits the Omni Slash, right clicks him down, and the spin to get a kill onto the Lifestealer. He goes down. A little bit of an overcommitment from the Lifestealer, which he is going to pay with his life.
Wow, what a pun.
Wow. Okay.
Lifestealer is gonna pay with
Like I have never been funny in a social circle before. I'm so glad that someone here thinks that I am funny. Thank you, Zach7.
in a social...
Yeah.
You're welcome. In a social circle of 2, that is.
In a social
And
circle of
obviously I'll
2
be the
awkward
audience.
nerds who play Dota 2. Yeah. And we see the ROG getting committed down the bottom lane. The Lifestealer is going to TP. The Rage is going to get committed. The
He's
Infest
dropped the
is
base
not
as well.
going to stop the Juggernaut. The Juggernaut is going to spin away. He is still in a really bad position. One more hit and he might die. The Night Stalker does not have enough mana for the Void. The Ember Spirit goes in, gets the Shackle onto the Juggernaut, and the Juggernaut goes down.
He's gonna get that. That was one hell of a good play from Ember Spirit, because I almost thought that Juggernaut got away with it. And you look at all that army coming in, and you know, Lifestealer Warlock just dropped the base with that golem out there, and Juggernaut knew his life was over right there.
Yeah. And he is going to commit an infest onto the Queen of Pain's illusion. Okay. The Queen of Pain goes in, blinks aggressively, uses the Scream of Pain, gets the Sand King fairly low. So meanwhile, the Juggernaut is getting aggressive. The Slardar, on the other hand, is farming the top lane, so he will be able to complete his Blink Dagger sometime soon. Once he gets that, the skirmishes that Go Figure Red can go for is going to multiply. The amount of kills they're also going to get.
They're going to use the shrine. That's a smart move to make.
And the Sand King is going to go for a kill. The infest onto the Sand King. The Lifestealer is also inside, but they are deciding to go back. The tier 1 is probably going to fall down. The Shadow Shaman still has his snake, so they can go for another tower if they really want to commit for that. And we see the Slardar getting pinged out by the Warlock. The Slardar is really close to his Blink Dagger. He has the money for the Blink Dagger. He can go ahead and get that.
Look at that bottom tier push. I'm really amazed at the amount of effort they're actually putting to commit, and surprisingly White Unicorn is directly ignoring their advances, which might prove fatal even at the 20-minute mark, because Shaman has already put his Serpent Wards up and they're going to go for the tier 2.
The tier 2 is probably not going to fall down.
To defend this. It kind of, I think, no, they're going to retreat. It could have, had they put in a bit more effort to it. I think it is going to fall down.
Yeah, that was a really cheeky attempt by the Juggernaut, but you should know that once you start TPing, you will not be able to hit the tower. So, the tower is going to go down. Go Figure Red getting that gold advantage early into the game. 15 minutes in, they are 7k ahead. We see the Shadow Shaman being invisible is going to spot out the Sand King. The Sand King is going to walk away, possibly getting a little bit jittery since none of the heroes are able to be seen in the lane. Maybe if the Shadow Shaman can go for a shackle onto the Ember Spirit might go down.
Go Figure Red is just focusing on pushing lanes. I think I have noticed that they are least bothered to pick up fights. They are happily picking up kills where they could, and the Night Stalker is getting caught out here. The Queen of Pain commits with a nuke and he's gonna fall. Oh, there's the base drop from Warlock and he's gonna commit to them right now.
And the infest from the Sand King's Burrow Strike is not going to prove a lot to be done. The Queen of Pain is going to escape. The Shadow Shaman is also going to go escape. The ROG being committed from the Warlock, it is possibly going to be a waste. And you see, the Juggernaut is going to see the Golem and is going to take it down. The Corrosive Haze is going to deal a lot of amplification, and a tier 2 push ensures in the top lane. The Juggernaut is going to spin TP. The amount of damage the Lifestealer deals is not enough. We see the commitment from the Queen of Pain, who is hasted. The silence is not going to do much. The Burrow Strike onto the Queen of Pain. He is going to get shackled and rooted. The Queen of Pain can still escape. He has the Blink Dagger. Okay, not the Blink Dagger, the Blink Skill. And there's that. Go Figure Red lose none of their heroes, and they pick up a kill on the Night Stalker in return.
Serious mana issues coming in because Warlock, Ember, Sand King, even Night Stalker are heavily mana dependent. Even Lifesteal. In fact, all 5 of them are heavily mana dependent, and we see no arcane boots on either of the heroes. But it only makes sense for Warlock to rush his Aghanims if that is. But I think he's going for utility. At this point, I guess they do need an arcane boost, really.
True.
Don't you agree?
I do, because the amount of damage, we can't expect 30 minutes in the Night Stalker keeps roaming around with a mango in his stash. Like, that is what he is doing right now. That is not going to be really, you know, efficient. He needs something like an urn. He needs something like an armlet. Possibly go for that Aghanims pick so he can scale well into the late game. He can't afford to keep buying the mango again and again. And as we speak about that, we see the Queen of Pain trying to get a commitment onto the Sand King. He has completed the Orchid, so The Queen of Pain is really farmed with 141 last hits compared to 100 on the Lifestealer. Things looking really grim for White Unicorn.
They are 2-6 is the score, 18 minutes. I think White Unicorn really need to get together and actually organize and initiate a smoke gang, because if not, Go Figure Red is gonna keep on pushing and pick up any spare kills they find lying around. At this point, I could say the Night Stalker is really falling behind. He needs to get back in this game. He's just level 7, which is kind of bad at this point.
So we see a rotation coming in. They do spot out the Slaughter, but they will not be able to commit for that kill. Meanwhile, in the bottom lane, we see the Queen of Pain with an Invis rune is trying to scout out any lone heroes. They do spot out the Ember Spirit. Maybe they want to go for a commitment there. Meanwhile, in the top lane, the Slaughter is going to fall down. Whatever I said is not going to happen. The Slaughter is going to get caught out. The Manta Style from the Juggernaut is going to make sure he is not going to get caught out by the Sleight of Fist into Shackle combo. Okay, the silence coming in from the Night Stalker is going to lock down the Queen of Pain, and the Queen of Pain is going to go down. The ROG commitment, but the huge Echo Slam coming in from Drake on the Earthshaker is going to get a kill onto the Night Stalker, and the Lifestealer is also getting really low. Will have to retreat back to base. The Golem dealing a decent amount of damage, but the Earthshaker will be able to escape, and the Golem possibly going to go down. The Juggernaut picking that 100 gold. Okay, that was a really bad fight for White Unicorn. What do you think White Unicorn need to do to get back into the game? Zach7?
As I mentioned earlier, they need to really organize a smoke gang, and they need to get their shit together basically. There's another Serpent Ward coming in, and I don't think the tier 2 will survive this. So
but we see the epicenter commitment from... Okay, and possibly the Juggernaut is going to go down. Double kill for QWE on the Ember Spirit. Maybe that is the fight that White Unicorn needed to take to get back into the game.
There's a smoke gang coming, so they are now actually looking to, you know, settle all their scores. So Slider has realized that he's gonna skimper away, and that saved them another life. Otherwise, it would have been 3-0.
Well,
so
maybe he will not
actually getting their things together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a 1,000 gold swing going the way of the Ember Spirit. So that is not a kill which you should be giving to an Ember Spirit. The Ember Spirit is trying to go for a Magic Wand and a Blade Mail. So the build that the Ember Spirit is going for actually seems like a really nice build. Once he is able to complete his Blade Mail, he can make sure that the initiations from the Queen of Pain will not prove fatal as it should be.
That's what they needed to do, right? They needed to go in aggressively. I think Go Figure Red even made a mistake by actually committing those Serpent Wards with just 2 heroes, and they spotted that out cleverly. So also I would like to take this time out to look at the warding right out here. White Unicorn has actually done a defensive ward that covers both their tiers right out here, and the Dire warding seems to be non-existent at this point, because Dire has actually not put out any wards, or have they been dewarded?
Okay, Drake gets a D-ward onto the bottom Radiant jungle, and with that a push ensues. The Queen of Pain and the Earthshaker are trying to go for a push. The Earthshaker, we have not been talking about him a lot. That Blink Dagger and Echo Slam in the mid lane made sure that Go Figure Red won that fight in that lane, because if not for that Echo Slam, I think that White Unicorn would have gotten more kills. So the Earthshaker not being active throughout the game makes sure that he saves his teammate with that Blink Dagger Echo Slam. And we see the Aegis is going to go down. The Juggernaut is going to pick that up. Maybe going for a transition onto the mid lane, perhaps?
They could. And they get another pick, so they could actually capitalize this into a push now.
Okay, the Shadow Shaman is going to go down, so that means that Go Figure Red will not be able to go for a push onto the mid lane. The Queen of Pain is in a really dangerous situation. Maybe if he gets caught out by the Night Stalker, that can prove fatal. The Queen of Pain blinks back into the tier 2 for the Radiant side. It is also going to go down. The Juggernaut with a double damage, making short work of that tower. And they are not going to stop with that. They are going to go to the top lane, trying to secure that tier 2 also, making sure the potential gold for the side of Go Figure Red is going to be maximized with the outer towers being pushed down.
They're gonna go for that tier 2 here. They're gonna pressurize it, and there's a serpent ward that's up actually, so Shaman could actually wait and get that level 2 in that serpent ward, so they could actually go for high ground.
And we see a Burrow Strike commitment coming in from the Sand King, but they are all huddled up. Maybe the Earthshaker is trying to look for a Echo Slam opportunity. They are going to gather up a lot, but the Earthshaker is going to get caught out, but he is not going to go down before throwing out his Echo Slam. The Aegis is going to get popped out. The Juggernaut is going to respawn once more. But that is going to be a really weird spot. He does have the Blink Dagger, so he is going to escape. But the Shadow Shaman will not be so fortunate. He goes down. The Burrow Strike from Dominator on the Sand King is going to make sure that they secure that kill.
So this is what they needed. Don't you agree that after all this time they have realized that they just needed to initiate, and you just need to ask for it and you get that fight. So now they will be pushing, and they have actually gathered their courage to get out and make things worthwhile for them, because this is the semi-finals and you cannot afford to just give away your opponents the game.
True, but on paper we see that White Unicorn have the more aggressive draft. And we see an Infest coming onto the Sand King. The Sand King is going to go for a Burrow Strike onto the Slaughter. The Slaughter is going to commit that Slitherine Crush, but the Rage coming in from the Lifestealer is going to make sure he's not going to get stunned up. And he goes down. A Diffusal Blade being picked up for Lifestealer. What do you think about that, Zach7?
Diffusal Blade is actually a good pickup, considering the fact that Juggernaut is going to phase out. You need to catch up with him. The Sladar is gonna eventually sprint away, so Lifestealer definitely needs the lockdown right now. Also, if potential Lotus Ops come in, they are not gonna, I'm guessing, but if they do, even that is a good counter to that.
The Juggernaut's ulti is going to get bounced back, and the Purge action from the Lotus Orb is going to make sure the Corrosive Haze from the Slaughter is also not going to stick. And as we speak, it seems as though White Unicorn are coming back into the game, even though they do not have taken any of the outer towers for Go Figure Red. It seems as though they are looking really strong, so that just shows how much potential that they have if they take the towers. And we see the Night Stalker is going to spot out the Smoke Gang coming in from the Shadow Shaman, and the Omni Slash is going to get committed, but it is going to bounce onto the Lifestealer, and the Lifestealer is going to get locked down, but he uses the Rage, and the Armlet Toggle is going to make sure he is going to survive. The Smoke Gang not praying fortuitous for the side of Go Figure Red, maybe not. The Night Stalker is going to get caught out and is going to go down. The Slaughter using the Corrosive Haze onto the Ember Spirit. Maybe they want to go for a kill. Okay, they do not want to commit for that. The Fissure is...
They could have gone for a return kill.
They could have, but they chose not to. And we see that the Queen of Pain is... Okay, this is a really bad position for the side of White Unicorn. The tier 3 is going to go down. That is going to open up the shrines. The Healing Ward is going to get committed, so it doesn't seem like there is a lot to be done. The Earthshaker is going to blink in and delay whatever the Ember Spirit is going to do. He is going to get silenced. And the barracks are probably going to go down. The Infest and the Burrow Strike coming in from the Lifestealer. The Lifestealer is going to deal a decent amount of damage. The Diffusal Blade not working out as of now. Maybe not. The Juggernaut is out of mana. He can go for a kill. The Lifestealer is dealing a decent amount of damage. Since they do not have the Sonic Wave, the pure damage from the Queen of Pain, this is probably a really bad fight. The Queen of Pain will be the only one who escapes from that fight. And the Snake being committed on the top lane is going to deal a lot of damage. Also get the tier 3 down.
So there you have it. They have actually played their part out, and even for like 3 people down for nil, they have pushed out a lot, and they have like insane map control at this point of time. They have almost all of the towers down except the one in the mid, and then all that remains is the ancient towers. When compared to White Unicorn, they have not managed to get a single tier, so they are really lacking in terms of map control, I think.
And we see the Solar Crest being picked up for the Night Stalker. That is going to make sure that he amplifies the amount of damage that he deals to the opposite heroes. Also going to make sure that the Lifestealer is not going to get killed off. The extra armor and the evasion coming in from the Solar Crest is not something which should be underestimated. The Shrine is going to get a little bit of harass from the Queen of Pain, but that is going to stop with that. The Slaughter is trying to go for a kill onto the Ember Spirit. No, maybe not. The Corrosive Haze is going to spook him enough to go back to base. And we see rotation coming in from the side of White Unicorn. The Burrow Strike is going to miss, and the Queen of Pain will be fortunate enough to survive that. The skirmish not going well for the side of White Unicorn.
They should have thought about that one. I think that was pretty good reflex from the Queen of Pain. She would have easily been caught out there. So that's kudos to the co-op player right there.
So, except for the Night Stalker, we do not see any other form of silence coming in. For any of the other heroes, we see the Yule Scepter being built up for the Sand King and the Ember Spirit. And I don't see a potential Orchid pick coming up. The Lifestealer is going to go for that Desolator to deal the extra amount of damage. Maybe he should have gone for an Orchid to lock down the Queen of Pain. And as we speak about that, we see a kill onto the Lifestealer. Okay, that was really sad. Drake picking up that kill.
So this is where I said that they don't have map control, because Lifestealer was technically not really out of bounds. He was not overextending.
And we see a
but still they
Slithering
had
Crush
the better map
onto
control.
2 in the bottom lane. But the Slaughter is going to get used up and they are going to stay relatively safe.
The sole strategy of Warlock would be to get a good utility item so that he could... There's a commitment right out there, man.
And we see the Slithering Crush onto the Night Stalker is going to make short work of him. The spin from the Juggernaut is going to make sure that he is going to survive. And he goes for the push onto the Barrack. So the split push game coming in from Go Figure Red is going to be a little bit annoying for White Unicorn. The Observer Ward being placed is going to scout out the heroes. We see the Burrow Strike onto the Shadow Shaman. The Shadow Shaman is going to go down. The commitment from the Ember Spirit is also going to get a kill onto the Slardar. But the Queen of Pain, using her Veil of Discord, is trying to look for a commitment. She uses the Sonic Wave and connects onto 3. The Sand King is going to go down. The Healing Ward from the Juggernaut is going to deal a lot of survivability. And the Night Stalker is probably going to go down. Maybe not. The ROG being committed from the Warlock is going to secure a kill onto the Juggernaut. The Queen of Pain will be able to blink out of that fight. 3 heroes dead for the side of Go Figure Red, and White Unicorn only lose the Sand King in return.
This fight proved quite fatal once again for
Go Figure Red.
Figure Red, I guess, and they're kind of getting a footing onto the game. White Unicorn, they need to capitalize on this and start and push ASAP, start a push, because if they get a good fight, another good fight, and maybe they could make a comeback. But if Go Figure Red wins even one fight, that would cost White Unicorn their racks. So that's not a good position at this point for them at all.
True, and as we speak about that, the shrine is going to go down. Both the shrines for the side of White Unicorn are going to get picked off. And meanwhile, no structural damage being done for the side of Go Figure Red. All their tier 1s are still up, and they have the potential to stand and fight, even though White Unicorn have a chance to come back. And we see an infest onto the Sand King. The Sand King is trying to bait someone into coming for a commitment. But it seems as though Go Figure Red are not going to fall for that. We see Darkness is going to get committed.
Indeed, and
what do you think about the Maelstrom pick for the Ember Spirit, Zack 7? Do you think that is going to be enough to delay the push?
Well, that's a very justified item. I don't think of a better item he could have gone for right now, because Ember Spirit really needs to stop that push. And meanwhile, look at the split pushing that they're doing. Juggernaut is almost gotten the ranged racks out there in the bottom. They're gonna come back in this fight.
And you see the healing ward doing a lot in these fights. It is making sure that the heroes from Go Figure Red are able to stand and fight. And we see the Warlock is getting really low. The amount of damage that the Queen of Pain deals is a lot. And we see in the top lane, it is going to be daytime, so the Night Stalker will not be able to do much. And the Warlock is going to get picked off.
Them.
The Warlock has bought back. He does have the ulti in 10 more seconds. The Fatal Bonds onto a lot of creeps. That is not going to prove well. And the Enchant Totem coming in and getting a kill onto the Lifestealer. The Lifestealer is down for 50 seconds. And the top lane of Barracks is going to go down.
Well.
The bottom racks is also going to go down. The split push coming in from the Shadow Shaman, making short work of the structures for the side of White Unicorn. And the Queen of Pain is going to commit hard for a kill onto the Sand King. Maybe. Okay, maybe not. The Yules coming in from the Sand King is going to make sure he is going to delay this inevitable structural damage.
They just... The only thing that stands between them right now is tier number 1, that's like mid tier, and Team Go Figure Red. Other than that, they have almost 90% clutch the match. So it's just a matter of time until White Unicorn calls it, because I don't see any plausible comebacks right now. But you never know, Dota is a game of comeback.
And they do have that Ember Spirit pick. We know that Ember Spirit with... If he decides to build something like a Battle Fury, he might be able to do a lot in these fights, because nobody wants to push against an Ember Spirit with a Battle Fury and a Daedalus. Sad thing that he did not go for that build, but he still has time to go for that if this goes to the late game.
I would say that the Ember Spirit also cannot help it much if Go Figure Red plays their part well. But if they let it slip through their hands, a comeback could well be possible. Even at this point, I would say that very confidently, that they could make a comeback if Go Figure Red commits a mistake.
And we see the ROG getting really low. The Corrosive Haze making short work of Roshan. The Juggernaut dealing a lot of damage. And he is going to pick that Aegis up. The smoke coming in from the Sand King, and the Lifestealer is going to get the Earthshaker low. The Infest from the Lifestealer is going to make sure that he is going to survive for a while, but he is going to get popped out by the Juggernaut. And we see the Epicenter being committed to get a kill onto the Slardar, but the Slardar is not someone who is worth all of that. The Sonic Wave coming in from the Queen of Pain is going to deal a lot of damage, and Snacks on the Juggernaut picks up a double kill. The Warlock is also getting really low. The Ember Spirit is going to run back to his base, and maybe this can transition into a push onto the tier 2. This Juggernaut still has his Aegis and the cheese to expend if he wants to go for that. The Juggernaut spends his cheese, and the healing ward is going to get committed, so this is definitely going to be Megas for the side of Go Figure Red. And I do not think that the Ember Spirit is formed enough to defend that. And we see the commitment coming in, and the Ember Spirit is going to go down. The Echo Slam from the Earthshaker is going to make short work of the heroes. And the mid lane barracks are going to fall down. It is going to be Mega Creeps. And White Unicorn putting up a good fight, but is not going to be enough. The Lifestealer is going to go down.
Sums it up, and that's the call.
GG is going to get called, and game 1 is going to be won by Go Figure Red and White Unicorn. Even though they put up a good fight, are going to go to game number 2.
That was a good match. Couldn't argue for more. That's what it was, a treat to watch.
So what do you think
Give you that.
could have been done for the side of White Unicorn to have won the game? Zach7, tell me that.
They should have picked up more fights. They could have picked up more fights. They could have played the aggressive draft that they initially chose to. And Night Stalker could have been a less passive play, I would say, and better placement of heroes would have actually resulted in their victory.
Right, and with that, game 1 is going to end with a victory for the side of Go Figure Red, and we are going to go to game 2 shortly, so stay tuned for Aces ROG's YouTube channel, and we will be right back.